When streamers want to broadcast themselves in bed doing nothing, they use a category labeled "I'm only sleeping." It's an apt description of what's happening on screen, and wouldn't be notable if "I'm only sleeping" was a descriptive label, like just chatting or in real life. It's not, it's a game. Many of you probably already knew that, but this isn't the whole story. There's more history to tell. When people like Thor from Pirate Software cover the topic, it usually ends at,
"That's a video game called I'm Only Sleeping, and you've stolen it to sleep in it."
But what is the game actually like? What game has had its identity stolen by AFK VTubers? Let's boot it up. We are greeted by a sign welcoming us. Reality on the norm. What does that mean? And who is Simon Jones? It's like the game expects us to know that name already. Reality on the Norm, RON for short, was a project where developers created a world together. Looking at RON's website, we can get a better understanding of reality. The homepage perfectly sums things up. Welcome to Reality. The RON game series formed when some members of the AGS community decided to do a group project. Although RON can best be described as a concept rather than a project in itself, it involves the creation of a central environment, in our case, the Reality on the Norm town. Each member of the team creates his or her own game as a chapter to be added to all the previously archived ones, thus creating a collaborative and diverse book of several independent yet coherent chapters. Reality on the Norm is an exercise in collaborative storytelling, in which people use Adventure Game Studio to create a point-and-click style adventure game that has some connection to the RON town's overarching story. Simon Jones is one of RON's inhabitants. He is the younger brother of Reality's de facto protagonist, Davy Jones. Simon's older brother features in RON's foundational first game, Lunchtime of the Damned by Ben Croshaw, created February 2001. You may recognize Ben Yahtzee Croshaw from his other work, Zero Punctuation. Lunchtime of the Damned is a tiny game and provides good insights on RON as a whole, so we'll give it a quick pass over. The format of RON games opening with this sign starts here. Today, Davy and his girlfriend Alondra spend their high school lunch break practicing black magic and resurrecting the dead. You know, as you do. Unsurprisingly, it goes horribly wrong, and they reanimate a brain-hungry zombie. Like the respectable teenagers they are, they make a break for it. Then Alondra puts all the blame on Davy and dips. Lunchtime is very aware of its place within the RON timeline, with many opportunities for others to add to its world. Most of the buildings are left deliberately empty. The game is tiny at only 3 screens wide, with 3 more for sub-areas. To fix the situation, Davy must burn the summoning pentagram and the blood of one of the zombie's victims. As luck would have it, there's one here. A very zombie-killed Bill Cosby. Interacting with him causes Davy to steal the dead man's wallet. With further interaction, he plays with Bill's earlobes and pokes the body. Because Davy is adverse to touching blood directly, he heads to the store, buying a plastic bottle and shovel with Bill's money. The narrator scolds us wryly, and we're on our way. Next is the fuel for the fire. Davy breaks into Sid's bar through the side window by climbing on a homeless veteran who goes unresponsive when Davy plays patriotic music on a nearby jukebox. He then casts an invisibility spell that gets Deus Ex Machina'd into his spellbook only within this room. Switch out this punk's vodka with water using the bottle from the store, and all that's left is to complete the ritual. The final cutscene features the zombie becoming liberated from his mindless hunger and vowing to become a politician in an incredibly cunning and nuanced dialogue. Lunchtime of the Damned is very rough around the edges, but it provides a goofy, dry-humored town and a few characters to build on. And build people did. Over the 4 years between Lunchtime and I'm Only Sleeping, the RON community added 59 games to the series. A chicken seeks revenge against the man who killed its brother, magical repercussions from bringing a person back to life unearth themselves and are dealt with. Davy Jones ends up dying and getting his soul reaped by death, only to be brought back to life. The building next to Yahtzee Brand becomes the Jones household, and most importantly for our purposes, a new character is made up, Simon, a 6-year-old little brother for Davy, leading us back to our categorically relevant game. I'm Only Sleeping is a massive step up from the first installment in terms of software. Lunchtime has its issues. I could only get the game to work in a minuscule window that wasn't very responsive, and alt-tabbing didn't work, where sleeping supported full screen and improved performance. The art is better, and the readability of where to go is significantly more comprehensible. Tell me, where do you go to get out of this room? The answer is here. It took me a good 10 minutes to figure that out. I'm Only Sleeping's story is simple. Simon can't seem to go to bed, so he must find a way to get sleepy. The dialogue and writing are also noticeably better. There's some decent humor and more subtle allusions. The scene when Simon enters Davy's room to ask if he has a magic spell that can help with insomnia is written well. Simon struggles to pronounce the hard word, while Davy acts sketchy and nervous. ABBA's Take a Chance on Me is the music for Davy's room. When questioned on his break from his usual tastes, it's revealed that Alondra likes ABBA, and he just so happens to be up late at night listening to it for no reason in particular. Davy then shares the most potent and ancient spell for sleep, warm milk. It seems like Davy is showing Alondra what's under his sheets. Going downstairs to the kitchen, Simon bumps into Grimm sitting on their couch, watching Gilligan's Island. A few more dated references later, we learn that the milk is on the top shelf and too high for Simon to reach. Like many other Ron games, I'm Only Sleeping doesn't have the most intuitive or reasonable puzzles. Instead of grabbing a chair and reaching for the milk himself, Simon must ask Grimm for help. Grimm pulls the Ask Mom technique, and Davy does the Ask Dad. When Grimm is informed of the circular deferrals, he drafts a magical contract to force Davy to fetch the milk, but Davy is unwilling to sign the contract, no matter what story Simon reasons with. So, we grab Simon's autograph book and plot to glue the contract in as a page to trick Davy. To accomplish this, Simon picks up a small blue cup and some flour, because for some reason this game thinks flour plus water equals glue instead of dough. But we can't fill the blue cup with water from the sink because the cup is dirty. The solution is to steal Death's cup by spilling mac and cheese on him and pocketing it while he's distracted. Keep in mind that this wasn't an option until now, as using the noodles on Grimm before this point does nothing. Fill the big cup with water and mix with flour. Then the glue winds up in the blue cup. What? I thought it was dirty. Why did we even need the large cup for this? The tampered book is enough to convince Davy to sign. Now under the contract, he's compelled to cease his courtship and grab the milk for Simon. During the following cutscene, we learn of some fine text in the contract which stipulates that Davy must also help Grimm Jr. with his homework. Yes, Alondra isn't getting Davy's little Davy anytime soon. The game ends after warming the milk and drinking it. Let's be real, I'm Only Sleeping and Ron games in general aren't good. They're bare bones and often obtuse. Monkey Island or Freddy Fish, they are not. But that isn't the point. They are creative, passion projects by young people interested in making games. They are the means for a community to build a shared mythology and plot. These games exist to have fun and just simply enjoy creating. Today, Ron is pretty dead. The last game came out in 2019, but the most recent game in the main story was in 2016. For the 15th anniversary, Darkwater created a fitting send-off for the series, Home Sweet Ron. All you do in the game is walk around the reality on the Norm town and get characters where they need to be. Ron is much fuller now. All the buildings from Lunchtime now have an identity, with new areas also present, along with many new inhabitants. You can feel how much the town grew over the years, and what it meant to those who participated. Twitch describes the I'm Only Sleeping category as a point-and-click adventure game created by Ainu as part of the Reality on the Norm project. Now you have an understanding of what that really means. If you were to ask me my opinion on the category's misuse, I would honestly say that I'm happy it happened. If sleep streams never took over, no one would be talking about Ron or any of these games. I wouldn't be here telling this story, and you wouldn't be here listening. I see this as a continuation of Ron's legacy, keeping the collaborative world alive. Just now, it's streamers inadvertently paying homage to the Reality on the Norm name while resting during their subathons. In a way, it's very fitting that most people learned I'm Only Sleeping was a game from Thor, because Ron, a not quite forgotten community of passionate young game developers, echoes his core message.
Just make your game. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Who gives a shit what anyone else is doing? Everything we make is a remix of a remix anyway. So make your game. Make your game in your way. That's it. Go make games.